everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today I have got another ranking video for you guys. So previously I did rank my Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette collection from my favourite to my least favourite, and I'm going to do the same thing today, but this time with my Anastasia Beverly Hills collection. So if you haven't checked out my Natasha Denona ranking video and you're interested, I will link that up top now for you to check out. Otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So I thought that I would do this video based on my least favourite, and then I'll work all the way down to my most favourite. I think that's how I'm going to do it. So without further ado, starting off, actually maybe I should mention how many palettes do I have? Hang on a second. I have 9 Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes to rank for you today. 9 of them. Let's do it. All right, first up. So out of my entire collection that you are about to see, this palette by far is my least favorite, and that is the RIVIERA palette. So I only purchased this honestly because it was on sale, it was limited edition, I enjoy Anastasia Beverly Hills formula, and I'm just like, why not? Let's just add it to the collection. I do regret buying this. It was a complete waste of money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this palette, let me just put that out there. The quality is really, really beautiful. The mattes in here are stunning. They blend beautifully. Probably for me, these shades in particular would have to be probably the most interesting for me, these ones, especially that one. Isn't that pretty? That one is called Seaside. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with the formula. They blend out beautifully. As you can see, just a couple of swatches. So nice. But the reality is that I just never seem to reach for this palette. I don't know whether it's just the intense pop of pink that's in here, and I mean I wear pink eyeshadow, so it's, you know, not as if I wouldn't reach for that colour, I guess, but I just don't know. For some reason there is just absolutely nothing about this palette draws me into wanting to use it. I've used it once or twice, I've enjoyed the looks that I've created using this palette, but to be honest I tend to go for the more you know, muted looks rather than go for something really, 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 you know, colourful. So maybe that has been my downfall. Maybe next time I pick this up I will just dive into Bahamas and Cans and do something with that. But yeah, so far for me, this just hasn't been a favourite of mine. So there you go. Okay, moving right along, we have got the NORVINA palette. So this is coming in at number 8 for me. Look, I really wanted to love this palette. I wanted to just absolutely love this palette so much, but I ended up finding it to be probably a little bit too on the cool tone side for me. As you guys know, I love warm tone colors. Hello, look at my lids right now. That really is my vibe, and so this for me just sort of fell a little bit flat. I will say that some of the shimmers in here are just stunning. Dazzling is, I mean, that is just such a gorgeous shot copper color. It's absolutely beautiful. Celestial as well is that purple. I love it. Also Dreamer, which is just so beautiful. Look at that. That's just absolutely stunning. I also really, really like this one here, and this is called Eccentric, and that's the one of the matte shades. It's a really, really beautiful matte formula. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't hate this palette, obviously. It's just out of my entire collection, not my most favorite. I will definitely, you know, reach for it again in the future, I'm sure. We are in winter right now, so probably I should tone down the fiery looks and maybe go for something a little bit more wintry, but yeah, I think it's just one of those things. I need to pull it out of my collection, chuck it on my desk, and make sure that, you know, I actually use it. But yeah, that one is coming in at number 8 for me. So next up we have SUBCULTURE, and look, you guys might be surprised potentially as to why this wasn't, you know, my least favorite out of the collection. And to be honest with you, it's just because it's just not. I really like this palette. I'm one of those weird people that I really, really enjoy this palette. It is very, very softly pressed in the pen, like we've all seen, obviously all the reviews and things like that. I think that you need to have a very delicate hand with this. And I think that if you're careful with your color choice, and the placement, you're going to get some really beautiful looks using this palette. And again, this is one of my most favorite color schemes, which is again really interesting because it's definitely more on the cooler tone vibe than what it is on the warmer tone vibe. And yeah, for some reason I just love this. I think it's beautiful. This shade here, Adorn, I mean, it just is the perfect copper shade. It really is. You could put that all over the lid and it's just, you're good to go. New Wave and Roxy, these two are some of my most favorite matte shades. Absolutely stunning. Cube is a really weird shade, and I think I kind of have maybe a little bit of hard pan happening. It's an interesting topper shade. It's a duochrome, as you can see. It's very pearl. It's got a beautiful pink pearl running through it. But yeah, probably not my most favorite. But yeah, I can't get rid of this. I love it, and I do use it regularly. So again, you know, a light hand, you have to be patient with it. It takes a little bit more work. But I really like this palette, guys. Next up we have Sultry. Now this one, again, this for me, I was really surprised with this one. So I bought it because, again, I love the look of it. Very, very cool tone palette. Very much so outside of my comfort zone for sure. I ended up doing a collaborating video with Cindy Lou Bindi using this palette. I will link that up top if you wanted to check it out. I'm so happy that I did that because it completely pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I ended up creating this really beautiful smoky eye look using this palette, and I loved it. It is a little bit weird because I just don't necessarily understand bloom. But to be honest, it's probably also one of the reasons why I ended up picking it up in the first place, because it had that shade. I don't know. But I will say that out of them all, Cyborg is just this is a really unique silver shade. I don't have anything else in my collection that's like that silver. It is absolutely beautiful. You also have Teak, which again, can we tell that I love the copper shades? Stunning copper shade. Also Pearl. This is just beautiful. That one there, you could just chuck all over your lid with something like birch in your crease and you're good to go. Like, the quality of this palette is just beautiful. In fact, it's the ABH formula. You guys know it's one of my most favorite formulas, literally of all time. And yeah, this was a really nice, surprising palette for me to pick up and challenge myself with. This one here comes in at, where are we at? This is number 6, so there you go. Coming in at number 5 is this one here. This is the NORVINA collection. This is volume 1. This was such an impulsive purchase, like, can I tell you? So this is what the palette looks like. It is beautiful. It really is. These are some of the most pigmented shades I have ever used in my life. They really are just beautiful. It is definitely not an everyday palette, obviously. In fact, you know what am I saying? It might be for some people, and that's perfectly fine. It's not an everyday palette for me, definitely, but I just want to show you some of the mattes in here. So this is D3. Look at that red. It's just beautiful. And if you wanted to, I reckon you could almost get away with using that as a blush, like very, very lightly if you wanted to. Absolutely stunning. This one here is C3. Really, really stunning shade. Isn't that just beautiful? Ooh. We also have E1, which is definitely one of my favorites out of the entire palette. Look at that. It just reminds me of like peach bellinis on the beach. I don't know. That's the vibes that it gives me for sure. It's just stunning. And then what else am I going to swatch for you? Let's go D4. This is a really, really pretty color too. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful sequined finish. Absolutely stunning. So yeah, the pigmentation in this palette is so intense. The one thing I will say is I don't think this palette is for beginners. I think that realistically, if you're going to pick this up, you need to be prepared to spend some time with it. You know, these shadows are really, really pigmented. You definitely need to be patient and blend them out and, you know, take your time with creating a look. And if you do all of that, I think that you will be very, very, very happy with the purchase. at the end of the day, even though I said, oh, I need to, how am I gonna, help me? Okay, there we go. At the end of the day, even though I did say this was a impulse buy, which it definitely was, I don't regret it. I thought I would regret purchasing it. I don't. I'm happy I have it a part of my collection. Some of these shades really are quite different compared to other matte shades that I have in my collection, and honestly, I just don't think you can't get past the quality. You know, the quality really is just so good. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. All right, next up we have this one here, and this is the Soft Glam palette. This is such a beautiful palette. This is an everyday palette. It's almost, I suppose it's kind of bridal. This is just beautiful for literally everyday use, as I was saying. I just don't think you can get past this. The quality is absolutely beautiful. It is everything that it says in the name. It literally is Soft Glam. These shades are just so beautiful, and you can literally create, I'm looking for a clean finger. You can create so many different beautiful looks using this palette. This is the palette, this would be like my go-to palette if I was going out for dinner, all that sort of stuff, you know. Just a couple of swatches for you guys. It really is just so beautiful.
beautiful.
The one thing I will say is that you do have burnt orange in here, and this does show up in a couple palettes. So just keep that in mind. But again, this is a palette that I feel like I will continue to use and end up hitting pan on quite easily. So yeah, I do love this for your everyday sort of, you know, go-to look. I just realized I stopped counting, so that was my number 4. Okay, getting through them, my goodness. Okay, so coming in at number 3, we have the Prism palette. I love this palette. This is such a cool palette. So the reason why I picked this to be number 3 is because I find that some of the shades in here truly are just so unique to anything that I have in my collection. So let me just show you a couple. Oh, let's go Orris, let's go Throne, we'll go Dimension, Lucid. Of course, they're all the shimmers, the metallics. Are we surprised? I don't think so. Look at them. They are just so beautiful. This is to me such a surprising palette because you really can create some really cool, unique, different looks using this palette. It's a really creative palette. I love it so much. I'm sad that it was limited edition, because I think that is a bit sad, because to me, when I look at all of the ABH palettes, I feel like this is one of the ones that she made that was just that much different, you know? So I'm a bit sad that it was discon. And again, you do have a couple of repeat shades in here, so we do have, again, Eden up the top there. But, you know, having said all of that, I do just love this palette. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful. And as you can see, some of the shades in here are just incredible. And they really are like nothing else that I have in my collection. So yeah, very happy I did not sleep on this palette, and I picked it up when I did. Moving right along, and coming in at number 2 is my NORVINA Volume 3 palette. I love this palette. Look how pretty the packaging just first off. I think it's absolutely stunning. So this is the Volume 3. I did not pick up Volume 2, spoiler alert. The colors just weren't for me. I probably will end up picking it up, but just not yet. So this is what she looks like. I have this palette all over my eyes today, if you guys are wondering. I just think it is beautiful. The greens in this palette are definitely something that is going to push me out of my comfort zone for sure. I haven't really dived too much into them, but the oranges I just love. And you guys know orange is one of my most favorite colors. You know, when I use eyeshadow, it just is such a beautiful shade to me, especially all over the eyes. So I'm just going to show you now a couple of different ones. One I definitely wanted to swatch was the C2. So this is a completely different red to the red that was in the other one, the Volume 1. I'll show you guys now actually side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. That one there is D3 out of the Volume 1 palette, and this one here is C2. out of the Volume 3 palette. So as you can see, they are definitely quite different. The Volume 3 red, which is this one here, is far more orange, has a far more orange undertone, whereas this one here to me has more of like a bluier undertone. So yeah, very, very different if you were wondering. And now I'm just going to swatch some other shades for you. So we have C1, which is just, isn't that stunning? That's in my inner corner right now. We have got D5, which I've got all over the lid. Look at that. Again, like I'm getting Peach Bellini vibes, just less intense. It's just so, so pretty. I love this shade so much. We've got E5, which is this absolutely stunning purple. Look at that. Isn't that just to die for? And then we've got this one here, which is B4. And the matte, again, the pigmentation is just, it's next level. I'm going to keep swatching because there's so many more I want to show you guys. This one here is A1. Again, I find that that's such a unique shade. So looking at it in the pan, it's kind of more of like an off greeny yellow color. But again, it's just such a pretty shade. Like I love that so much. Next up, we have B2. Again, really, really pretty. So this one here is, oh no, it is matte. I wasn't sure. I'm like, does that have sequins in it? No, it doesn't. So at first I thought it was almost going to be like a sequin or satin finish, but no, it's a beautiful matte finish. And then finally, I'm going to swatch another one. Actually, I'm going to swatch two. So this is E1 and B1. So there's B1. Look at that. And that one there is E1. So, so stunning. Completely different to anything else that I have in my collection by far. There are all my little finger swatches. They really are stunning shades. And the thing with this, again, as I said, it's the quality. Because I had already experienced ABH quality, I sort of knew what I was in for. And for me, I feel like these palettes are just next level. They are just that more pigmented. Again, you really, really need to take your time with blending them out and, you know, creating a look, because otherwise you may not have the best experience. And I've seen that through other people's reviews and things like that, of that nature. I get that impression. But for me, I just think they are completely worth it. And if you're a makeup artist and you're somebody that, you know, would be able to get a lot of use out of these sorts of palettes, again, I can definitely see the value in picking them up. For me, I'm just more of a collector and a bit of an enthusiast, as you guys know. And so, yeah, I just thought, well, why not push yourself out of your comfort zone, pick up a palette that's got a lot of greens in it, and see what you can make of it. And naturally, I decided to go for the most orange like shadow look I could do today, but that's all right. I'm sure I'll get into the greens at some point. But again, it's just, it's so pretty. I'm sure by now you have figured out what my number one is, and it is, of course, the Modern Renaissance palette. Are you surprised? Probably not. I love this palette. Just look at it. It's stunning. I think that this is a staple palette. I think that this is a palette that literally everybody should have in their collection. It is just so beautiful. It does the job amazingly. The quality is just so good. You have got so many different options. You know, if you're just wanting a basic little bit of something on the eye to go out, you can do that. If you're wanting to sort of really, you know, ramp up the look and go for something really quite bold, you can do that. It's just an everyday perfect palette. And, you know, when I say everyday perfect palette, I also genuinely do mean that I have created some of my most favorite evening looks literally using this palette. It just, it's very universal. And that's why I think, oh, I almost dropped it. That's why I think everybody realistically should have this in their collection. Some of these shades, they definitely are repeat shades that you see through some of her other palettes, but this was like the OG, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, for me, I love this so much. I just don't have anything else that I think compares in my collection to how much I love this. I have used it so much. Often, you know, whenever I travel anywhere, this is the palette that comes with me because I just know it's my go-to, you know. I'm comfortable using the colors. I know how it's going to perform. I know how quickly I can get a look out of it. And that's why for me, it is just absolutely the number one palette out of all of the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes that you could possibly get, for me, this is definitely my favorite. Now, there are a few that you guys probably will notice that I am missing, and that is because I just didn't have the opportunity to purchase them. One of them being the Mario palette. I know everybody loves that palette and it generally is their favorite, typically. But for me, I don't own it, so I couldn't possibly say it was my favorite. So I hope you guys aren't too disappointed with the choices that I made, I guess. But for me, this is just how I personally feel about the collection. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. And I will see you guys on the next one. Mwah. Bye guys.